Hey there guys, DMO73 here bringing you a feature match for the week. This is kind of a throwback video with my buddies Kyle Croft and Ryan Hay from BC Comics in Fenton, Michigan. I got this footage from them back when I did Random BattleCon, and I've kind of been sitting on it, and I felt like this was a good week to kind of flash back to it, because I had a lot of repetitive decks kind of stored up in my stores of footage. So these were two very interesting decks. Kyle was playing a multicolor, a four-color, no, it's three-color, green, black, red, Scheherazade list he just called Removal.deck. Very, very interesting list that just focused on just making sure to do 1/4 with your opponent and then finishing them off with Bastet, the green Cthulhu. And Ryan is playing a Gwiber Musketeer list that was just used the Musketeer kind of ramp, kind of duplication effects in order to make Gwibers easy to play, and then just kind of flooding the field and finishing it off that way. So it's kind of a mid-range kind of list. So we'll go ahead and see how this goes. Offering the stone cut for the Scheherazade after the mulligans have happened. Ryan's going to be going first. Gets that green-white stone and starts off with an Elvish Priest. So pretty standard kind of first turn start for that list because it wants to ramp. But we see that Thunder come out for the Elvish Priest. And Kyle pays 200 for that. See another Elvish Priest come out, following that up with a Ryuma Sakamoto. This lets him filter all of his mana, all of his will. So now all of his stones, essentially, with Ryuma on the field, can produce will of any attribute. So Ryan's going to play two, and he's going to play Hazard, the Dark Forest Augur. This is a very interesting card. Every start of each of Kyle's main phases, Hazard just deals 200 damage to target player or resonator, and Hazard can't be targeted by anything. So it's essentially just free burn, small free burn damage every turn, which when combined with cards like Demon Flame can have a huge impact. So we see that Ryuma swing in for 400 damage. Because Kyle does play for the Demon Flames, and so Demon Flame can kill any Resonator that has damage already on it, so you use Hazard to deal a little bit of damage, and then just a 1-drop to just kill anything, essentially. But that turn he decided to use the Hazard to burn Ryan, so now he's down to 38. Got that Mozart swinging out, forming a little bit of a wall. See Genghis Khan, which then, when it comes into play, just untaps one of the stones that he controls. Plays another Genghis Khan, untaps again, and there's the Gwiber. Like I said, very powerful way to make that play happen. He chooses to sack off his Elvish Priest for the mandatory trigger from Mozart, and then when he swings in with Ryuma, Kyle responds with a Thunder to kill that off. So right now Ryan's in a very good board state. However, you saw that here it is. Kyle just drew into a Demon Flame. So now that Gwiber has 200 damage on it, and the Demon Flame just kills it. Very, very, very neat trick to kind of just get rid of big threats for a very low cost. So it looks like we have a Spiral of Despair, a Stoning to Death, a Flames of Outer World. I think that was a Laura the Bloodspeaker in Kyle's hand. Now the Ryoma comes out from Ryan, swinging in with that Athos, Stoning to Death on the Genghis Khan, blocking with Hazard. So Kyle looking pretty low on life right now. He's just trying, but he is a control deck, so I mean he's looking to try to make it last longer. The fact that Athos has that crucifix on himself, so it makes him untargetable, makes this very, very hard for Kyle, because a lot of his removal is just that, it's target removal. So here's a situation where Kyle could have actually swung it in his favor based on how much removal he had in his hand. If he had had like a Thunder in addition to that Flames of Outer World, in response to the block from his Mozart, he could have quickly just killed the other two Resonators. That would have forced Athos to die from Mozart's effect, because he would have been the only one left on the field. Unfortunately, Kyle just drew into that Thunder, so he was not able to make that happen. Oh, so there's that Bastard coming out. Bastard gets plus 100 for each Resonator, or for each card in his opponent's graveyard. So the more cards Ryan uses, the longer this game goes, the more powerful Bastard becomes. So right now it looks like he has 7, so it's a 700, 900. And Ryan decides to flip D'Artagnan, now making his Athos a 1200, and Kyle just has to take that hit. And Little Prince swings in response. Kyle kills an Elvish Priest, forcing Little Prince to go down in strength, and then blocking with Past It, which would be enough to kill it. All of these little moves, these little removal moves, help Kyle make his Bastard even stronger. So now that Scheherazad's gonna get flipped, and we'll see what he searches for. Looks like he searches for a Flame of Outer World, and just immediately casts it to kill that D'Artagnan. And then he passes over the turn to Ryan. So again, that Athos is still a problem. It's still an 8/8, and it can't be attacked. So even though it had, Bastard could have easily killed it, it couldn't be attacked. So that's another weird situation there. Is Ryan played Glinda and could have made his Athos unblockable for the turn. I don't know why he didn't. That would have just been free damage. And Kyle is going to play a Storm's Death on the Gwiber, kill that out of the way, pumping up Bastard even more. He plays a Spiral of Despair, even though Ryan has no cards in his hand. He's trying to empty his hand for Scheherazade. They're dead cards, essentially, that he doesn't need. So he's trying to empty his hand so that he can tap for Scheherazade's ability to draw 2 cards. So Ryan plays another Athos. He doesn't get the reduced cost anymore because his Musketeers dead. Now Ryan's at a point where he's got to figure out a way to kill the Bastard. He's got to figure out a way to survive the Bastard hit. So he's going to grab a Dragon Slayer with the Athos and put it in his hand. He won't get to add it straight to Athos because his J Ruler is now Astral. So that effect is now null. But he can put that Dragon Slayer onto the Athos. So now Athos has to take essentially 1300 damage in order to die. And so Kyle's just going to block, even though it won't kill either of them. And at the end of the turn, he's going to Crime and Punishment for no reason on the Glinda, because again, he wants to waste it, and then he's going to draw 2 cards. So a pretty cool strategy there. He intentionally wastes cards that just are dead in his hand in order to empty his hand, so that Scheherazade can help him refill his hand pretty quick. So I see another Bastard in there. I see an Oz, the Great Wizard. So we see that Mozart come out. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we saw that second Bastard out. Oh no, it's a Laplace. It looks like a Laplacia, the Demon of Fate. It's not another Bastard. Yeah, so there's a Laplacia, the Demon of Fate. So now we see that Pumpkin Witch. Problem here is I think Kyle, honestly, if he had any way to, if he didn't have any way to stop that Pumpkin Witch from being drawn, it would have been fine. However, he actually did, and Kyle forgot about it because he could have activated Laplacius Mill effect at the end, at the start of Ryan's turn before the draw, because there's actually a priority sequence there. It could have milled the Pumpkin Witch, but he forgot about it in the moment, and so he just said, well, I've just seen my own death, and so he just scoops. So going into game 2, Kyle's going to be going first. Hitting that first stone as always, and having to pass the turn. Elvish Priest comes out. Thunder during the upkeep. You know, quick little spot removal there, get that Elvish Priest off the board. Something that a lot of players I've seen doing with an Elvish Priest is they keep like a 1-drop green pump spell, like Evolution of Limits or Rapid Growth. They run those as well, so that when the Thunder gets played on their Elvish Priest, they can use Elvish Priest's Will to pump it up and like let it survive. It's a pretty interesting strategy. It's kind of coined by Epunk, who made the Alice World deck. See that familiar Holy Wind come out from Ryan. Kyle's just gonna sit on that Mozart and back up. See Aramis come out. He's trying to ramp because he technically does have 2 Musketeers on the field. In response to the summon, so before Aramis resolves, he kills Ryuma. So now Ryan only has 1 floating will. Only generates the 1 from himself. So he's got to decide what to do with it. So he's got an Athos, a Glinda, an Aramis, maybe an Aramis, and a Gwiber. So he's just going to go ahead and pass. Kyle's getting just more stones, paying for a second Mozart, so things seem to be going a little bit better for Kyle this time around. He's able to keep a little more consistency in terms of board state. I noticed that Kyle left up his Moon Shade Stone. It's either Moonshade or Moonlight, the one that can tap for any color that you already control, and a red. And then he realizes that he left the wrong color combination up because he has a Stoning to Death in his hand. So he could have responded, if he had left a different color combo up, he could have responded to Athos's Enter effect and killed it. But because he left the wrong stones up, he has to let that Athos get its crucifix on it, which proved quite difficult for him last game. So, I mean, having 2 Mozart puts him in a better position because he's going to be able to remove 2 things, but it is still tricky for him. So there's another thing so Ryan used his familiar Holy Wind to lose for one of the Mozarts. He could have just honestly just killed the Aramis, and then swung in also with the familiar. And he did what he did. And then Kyle actually used a Demon Flame to kill his own Mozart, forcing that Athos to die. So that was a pretty cool trick as well. So we're getting to the point where Ryan's going to have enough will to start making Gwiber plays. And you see he does have that Gwiber in his hand. So now it's just a matter of how he's going to play it. See that little prince come out. So Kyle has a Stoning to Death and an Oz the Great Magician. And just plays the little prince. Honestly, I'm a little surprised there. Got Hazard's back out. So Kyle's playing a very, very calculated, slow game here. And Ryan's just slowly trying to get to where he has those Gwibers. You see he has 2 Gwibers in his hand now. Plays Aramis, gets 1 will. Plays Pumpkin Witch, and then plays a Gwiber. So because Pumpkin Witch creates a cloud effect, that Gwiber, if it hadn't have just died to a stoning to death, would have had swiftness and flying, and that would have just been 1200 damage to the face. But instead, Kyle's just going to take the hit from Aramis, Little Prince, and Pumpkin Witch. So it's 300 from Pumpkin Witch, 600 from Little Prince, and then 500 from Aramis for a total of 1400 damage. And drew that Crime and Punishment a little bit too late. Plays it Oz the Great Wizard after he's burned the Little Prince for 200 damage with Hazard. Grabs Demon Flame. Demon Flames the Aramis. Crashes his Mozart into the Little Prince. And he chooses to sack the Little Prince from the Aramis. Or sorry, sack the Little Prince for the Mozart. Second Little Prince comes out. Apologize for the shaky camera there. 3 stones comes out, another Pumpkin Witch, and another Gwiber. And Kyle just scoops because he's like, well, there's no way I'm coming back from that with just a Crime and Punishment, because that's about to be lethal right all in his face, because it's 600 from the Pumpkin Witches, 1,000 from the Little Prince, and 1,200 from the Gwiber, so it would have been easily game. So that's it, guys. Let us know what you thought about the decks. Deck profiles will be up this Saturday. Like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, this is DMO73 signing off.